This land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon-bound highway, I saw above me a windmill skyway. I saw below me a sun-drenched valley. This land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled and followed my footsteps to sparkling sands of her diamond deserts, and all around me the sun was shining, and I knew our energy was free. I felt the wind massage my arms, I felt the rain wash away the blues. I knew the earth was worth saving, and I'm here now to spread the news. When the sun came shining, there I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling, a voice enchanting as the fog was lifting. This earth was made for you and me. Some banks fund oil, some banks fund gas. If they don't stop, we'll drop them fast, 'cause other banks are fossil free. Those banks are made for you and me. Some banks fund oil, some banks fund gas. If they don't stop, we'll drop them fast, 'cause other banks are fossil free. Those banks are made for you and me. From California to New York Island, from Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me.
So now we are going to read the indictment of Chase Bank and why we are here and why we think what Chase Bank is doing is criminal, and Chase Bank and its executives should all be arrested and sent to jail.
Yes.
So we're going to read this paragraph by paragraph. There is now massive evidence, including reports by some of the most respected scientists in the world, which prove unequivocally the following.
That the frequency and magnitude of recent extreme weather events, droughts, wildfires, level 5 hurricanes, storm surges, tornadoes, excessive rainfall, floods, and other events have increased throughout the world. This increase proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that catastrophic climate chaos is already a reality all over the earth.
That's right.
That this climate chaos directly presents an ongoing danger to many of the ancient ecological systems that have produced and sustained what we know as life on Earth, including human civilization, which has evolved so spectacularly over the last 100,000 years. Less frequently mentioned and documented, but of no less importance, is the danger that these extreme weather events and climate change
You want somebody else to continue?
Okay. And climate change more generally poses to much of animal life, from the smallest insects, the honeybees, to the largest mammals ever to roam the earth, whales, elephants, and others. I don't have my glasses. Number 4.
While no human being on Earth is entirely safe from these potentially catastrophic weather events, poor people, indigenous people, and people of color, including entire tribes, nations, and continents, are especially endangered. This is true, even though the poor nations of the world, the communities of poor people, even in wealthy countries, are far less responsible for climate change than the wealthy nations of Europe and North America, and especially Jamie Dimon, who could stop the bank from investing in fossil fuels.
That's right.
That extreme weather events are forcing large numbers of people to move from one part of the world to another. Climate refugees are partly responsible for the surge in immigrants trying to get into wealthy countries like the US and the European Union. But there are, within the United States itself, many climate refugees.
That climate change and associated extreme weather events, which are often called natural disasters, are not natural at all. They are fueled by a well-documented and seemingly unstoppable increase in greenhouse gases in the Earth's atmosphere. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere have grown from 280 parts per million to 418.
That may be a big
That the accumulation of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, traps heat in the atmosphere, resulting in climate change, climate chaos, and extreme weather events.
That the extraction, transportation, and burning of fossil fuels are the primary causes of the buildup of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
That a relatively small group of multinational corporations, headquartered in, promoted by, and protected by wealthy countries like the United States, are primarily responsible for this activity and work overtime at devising political, technological, and economic obstacles to changing the fossil fuel economies. Because of this, the United States, some of its corporations, and many of its banks are leading the way to climate chaos.
That among the corporations most responsible for these activities are the banks that finance the extraction, transportation, and burning of fossil fuels. Since the Paris Climate Accords were signed in 2015, banks globally have provided $3.8 trillion, that's trillion with a T, of financing to these activities. Without this financing, the fossil fuel companies would be forced to stop their earth-destroying activities.
That many big banks internationally participate in this financing, but JP Morgan Chase contributes the most, providing $316 billion, that's billion with a B, between 2016 and 2020. And unlike some other banks, which are phasing out funding, JP Morgan Chase has publicly committed to funding oil and gas for years to come.
Because we are parents, because we are grandparents, great-grandparents, and even great-great-grandparents, because we care about our grandchildren, because we will do anything to protect the earth so that our grandchildren can live long lives on a healthy planet, as we have done. We have come here today to demand that this bank's ongoing financing of fossil fuels is no longer acceptable and must cease now.
And we indict you in this location that's close to the centers of power in the US. Your bank has engaged in murderous criminal behavior, endangering not only our grandchildren, but all life on the planet, and must be held accountable for these actions.
How are you?
And at least
manager here at this location. I will please ask you, this is a private property. Okay?
thank you for coming to greet us. We're delivering an indictment to your employer, Jamie Dimon and Chase Bank.
Okay.
We're going to continue reading the indictment.
I do understand, but you need to stop recording because this is bank premises.
Yes, but
for
this may be
security issues?
legally private property, but you know, this private property is destroying the whole planet, and that is unconscionable. I believe probably you have children. and your children are endangered by the very activities of this bank. And we are here not only to protect our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, but your children as well.
Yeah, I do understand, but my ask is please, like, don't stop recording.
We heard your request. Thank you for delivering the request.
Because this is a private property, I just need to let you know that. because
Thank
it's a
you
bank,
for letting
due
us
to
know.
security,
We
okay?
appreciate
But
that.
thank you. Would you like some coffee or water in the meantime?
I think we're good. Thank you. This
Yeah,
gives
but
me,
your
you know, I
funding
think I'm
goes-
going to have to start the indictment over again. This obviously is not aimed at the employees that are here, but it is aimed at your managers and your executives who make the decisions. And I hope that those who are here to hear us today will think about this and communicate with fellow employees. The employees of this bank are the victims of the decision made by the board of directors and Jamie Dimon. We are with you today and with your children and hope that you will stand with us. I continue with the indictment. We indict you now, Jamie Dimon, and the board of directors of Chase Bank in this location in Washington, D.C. that is close to the centers of power in the U.S. Your bank is engaged in murderous criminal behavior, endangering not only our grandchildren, but all life on the planet, and must be held accountable for its actions. The least we as grandparents can do is to bring attention to what must be done to protect our grandchildren. By coming here to your bank, we are hurting no one, doing no property damage, and we are not interrupting the functioning of our economy and our civilization. Contrast these facts with the well-known reality that climate change is killing many people, including children, and has laid waste to large sections of the United States and many other countries. If you doubt this, please remember what happened in Puerto Rico and Fort Myers, Florida in the fall, and I would add Pakistan, a third of which was underwater for 6 months this year.
Well, some people might think that what we're doing in your bank today is criminal behavior. In fact, that real criminal behavior is being done by your bank, not by us. We are here to shine light on and interrupt your bank's criminal behavior. And while we know you are not personally responsible for criminal decisions made by corporate boards and CEOs elsewhere, we are asking you to tell them of your concern about these matters. That's the end of the indictment.
Not the end of our activity.
Well done. Well written.